Welcome to the Playing Books podcast. Okay, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into some really foundational thinking,
We are.
specifically from excerpts of Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy. Highly praised stuff.
Oh, definitely highly praised. I mean, you've got reviewers like Brian Koppelman calling it an attack on the, quote, greatest obstacle to mastery and true success.
Yeah.
And Robert Greene, he challenges that whole idea that we just need confidence. He suggests, you have to earn it by pursuing something bigger than just yourself.
Exactly. And this isn't just like abstract theory for Holiday. He gets really personal.
Right.
He talks about his own run-ins with ego at all the different stages, aspiration, success,
Yeah.
even failure.
Yeah, he mentions researching it for a long time, but it was the painful experiences that really brought it all into focus for him.
He's pulling together wisdom from history, philosophy, literature, all these different areas.
To show how tricky and universal this ego struggle really is.
So our mission here in this deep dive is basically to pull out the core insights from these pages.
The real takeaways.
Yeah. To help you, the listener, spot ego when it crops up and maybe get some tools from the book to, manage it on your own journey, whatever that looks like.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, let's start right at the beginning. Aspiration, when you're just setting out, maybe full of dreams, energy, maybe a bit unsure too.
And right there, the sources tell us, is where ego often just trips people up, stops them before they really even get going properly.
How so?
It's that voice, right? Telling you these fantastical stories about yourself, making you feel like you've already got it figured out.
Okay.
You let your star burn super bright, super hot right away, building this image.
But it's not sustainable.
Exactly. It often just fizzles out because there wasn't any real substance underneath. You didn't reach the destination.
And there's that temptation, isn't there? Especially when success seems close. You start crafting a story about yourself,
Oh, yeah. Rounding off the sharp edges, forgetting the lucky breaks.
adding a bit of mythology.
Totally. Suddenly your talent isn't just a skill, it's your identity. Your accomplishments become your, fundamental worth.
Holiday admits he did this himself. He looked back and saw he'd left out all the tough stuff.
All the stress, the temptations, the mistakes, the times he dropped the ball. Yeah.
It's so easy to just show the highlight reel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And edit out the messy reality of actually doing the work.
Yeah, the grind.
This reminds me of that question from John Boyd, the military theorist.
Yeah.
He had this simple test for his choices: to be or to do.
Boyd. Yeah. He always chose to do, didn't he?
Consistently.
Yeah.
He was just focused on the work, becoming this amazing strategist, Genghis John, they called him.
Because he just powered through obstacles.
But here's the kicker. Despite all his contributions, he often got passed over for promotions.
The ghetto colonel.
Right.
Yeah.
And largely forgotten by history during his life, because he put the substance, the doing, way ahead of the titles or the recognition, the being.
That is such a stark choice. He wasn't chasing fame.
No. He was chasing understanding, effectiveness.
Yeah.
It really challenges you to think, in those moments, are you doing this because it's needed for the goal? Or is ego whispering that it'll make you look good?
Mm-hmm. Are you ready to make the doing choice?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means less being recognized.
It's a tough internal check.
Definitely.
So, okay, if ego is the big hurdle in aspiration, what's the way forward? What do the sources suggest?
Well, it comes down to cultivating humility and grounding yourself in reality.
Right. And one really powerful antidote they mention is this idea: become a student.
That's strategically brilliant, I think, because it forces you to hand over your ego, your ambition, to someone else, a mentor, a master.
It puts a ceiling on your ego.
Exactly. An ego ceiling. You know you're not better than the person teaching you.
And you can't fake that. You can't perform being a student.
Nope. No shortcuts. It's just the daily grind. Hacking away at it day after day.
Which means you have to do that really hard thing. Honestly, look at your own talents.
And often adjust that view downwards.
Yeah. It's painful, but the book warns that pretending you know stuff you don't is just so dangerous, especially early on.
Frank Shamrock's system is great for this, the MMA fighter.
Yeah, tell us about that.
His plus minus equal system. You need someone better, your plus, to learn from. Someone lesser, your minus, to teach. That really solidifies things. And someone equal to challenge you.
Is you sharp?
Right. It creates these constant feedback loops. It actively purges the ego, the fear, the laziness, keeps you rooted in what's real.
Another cure the sources highlight seems, well, almost countercultural today. the power of silence.
Oh, absolutely. Especially early on. We live in such an age of noise, don't we?
Constant chatter. The pressure is always to talk, to perform,
Social media is the perfect example. It's all, look how great I am.
when really underneath it might be, I'm scared, I'm struggling.
Right. The writer Emily Goode talked about this with her novel. She did everything but the actual work. She realized she was spending a lot of time on the internet, which felt productive.
But it was just distraction. Performance.
Exactly. Kierkegaard warned about this, didn't he? Something like,
Mere gossip anticipates real talk.
and to express what is still in thought
Yeah.
weakens action by forestalling it.
You talk it out, and the energy to do it just evaporates.
Silence is so rare now. That ability to just exist, to do the work without needing constant validation, that's real strength.
The book puts it bluntly. The only relationship between work and chatter is that one kills the other.
You gotta plug the leak. Focus.
Which actually leads nicely into another point that feels a bit odd at first blush. The advice to maybe, don't be passionate.
Right. Goes against everything we hear, follow your passion.
But the argument here is that unchecked, kind of blind passion,
Yeah.
it can actually hold you back.
Yeah, it can be a hindrance. They use Eleanor Roosevelt as an example.
How
She
so?
wasn't driven by, like, fiery outbursts of passion. It was purpose. Cool reason.
And that steady approach achieved way more.
And then you have the cautionary tales. Passion without reason. Well, the book mentions the conviction behind the Iraq War under Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Christopher McCandless, Into the Wild. That romantic passion.
Robert Falcon-Scott and the Pole Mania.
Even the segue. Intense passion blinded them to the practical problems. Passion alone can really deceive you, lead you right off a cliff.
So instead of just raw passion, the sources point towards service.
Yeah. Make other people look good and you will do well.
That sounds potentially demeaning.
But it's not about being a doormat. It's about providing real support, enabling others who are ahead of you. The book uses this great old term, be an anti-ambolo.
Which means?
Literally, someone who clears the path for their patron.
So clear the path for others.
You make their journey easier, and eventually you learn how the path works, you build trust, you create space to clear your own path.
Because let's be honest, when you're starting out,
Mm-hmm.
there are some tough truths.
Right.
You're probably not as good as you think, or as important. Your attitude probably needs adjusting. And a lot of what you think you know
Is outdated or just wrong.
Yeah. So attaching yourself to successful people, successful teams, and kind of subsuming your identity for a bit.
It's a smart move. It keeps ego down at that critical learning stage, lets you just absorb everything without your own pride getting in the way.
The Bill Belichick example here is perfect.
Oh, yeah. Mastering film analysis. Total grunt work others felt they were too good for.
Volunteering without pay, having his insights credited to senior coaches.
He was just like a sponge taking it all in. He wasn't chasing credit.
Showcasing mastery.
Exactly. And the deep insight is that the person who quietly clears the path, they end up understanding it best. They're positioned to control its direction later.
So obeisance, in that sense, serving the mission.
Yeah.
That's the path forward, not immediate glory.
Right.
Okay, so let's say we're making progress. We've had some wins.
Now the sources say the need to restrain ego is constant. Booker T. Washington's quote is powerful here. Great results come from those who keep under the body.
Meaning,
Calm, self-possessed, patient, polite, keeping impulses in check.
you see this incredible restraint in Jackie Robinson.
Superhuman restraint. The racist abuse he endured is brutal.
They're waiting for you in the jungles, black boy. Awful stuff.
And he wanted to retaliate, desperately. But he held back. He even agreed to that friendly photo later with one abuser.
To save the guy's job.
Yeah. His path required setting aside his ego, his immediate feelings, even basic fairness for the bigger goal, integrating baseball.
And the flip side, ego leading to inaction.
General McClellan during the Civil War is the cautionary tale there. His egotism is simply colossal, someone wrote.
And it paralyzed him.
Absolutely. Robbed him of the ability to lead effectively. He was so wrapped up in himself, his image, his fear of failure. He just missed crucial opportunities, cost lives.
We think ego equals confidence, but it can just freeze you, crap you in your head. Which leads to that thing we all do sometimes, that opening credits montage in our heads.
Yeah. Put on headphones, go for a walk, and suddenly you're the hero of your own movie. Everything's epic. You're amazing.
Feels good. Better than facing the doubt, the fear, the actual mundanity of the work sometimes.
But truly successful people, the book argues, learn to curb those fantasies. George C. Marshall, during World War II, refused to keep a diary.
Why?
He worried it would turn reflection into performance, that he'd start making decisions based on how we wanted to look to history instead of just dealing with the reality of the moment.
Wow. Living clearly in the present, that takes courage.
Especially when it's uncomfortable or messy, there's no audience, just the work and the lessons, good or bad.
Okay, moving along the journey. After you've had some success, maybe early success, comes what the sources call the danger of early pride.
That proverb captures it perfectly. A proud man looks down
And misses what's above him.
Right. Pride makes you stop looking up, stop learning. It dulls your senses, actually,
Yeah.
but it also tunes up the negative stuff.
Like what?
Hypersensitivity, a persecution complex, making everything about you.
Genghis Khan, of all people, warned his generals about this. Said if you can't swallow your pride, you can't lead.
Compared subduing pride to subduing a wild lion. That's intense.
Because early on, ego can sometimes feel like it's working for you, right?
Yeah, the book says craziness can pass for audaciousness. Delusions can pass for confidence. Ignorance for courage. It can seem adaptive.
And it's a trap.
A Faustian bargain, they call it. You're borrowing confidence you haven't earned. You're just kicking the real costs, the real lessons down the road. You're flirting with arrogance, deceit. Winning at all costs becomes the focus, not real growth.
So what's true ambition then, according to this?
It's not loud. It's facing life with quiet confidence, putting your head down, doing the work despite distractions.
Choosing to be myself, the best version in this for the long game, no matter how brutal. Focusing on the to-do.
Exactly, which leads to that huge question about success. Can you handle it, or will it destroy you?
The Howard Hughes story is just chilling.
A flesh and blood metaphor for ego and destruction. That's how the book puts it.
A man completely split. Brilliant strategy on one hand.
And utter irrationality, paranoia on the other. Working furiously to achieve and also, simultaneously, to undermine himself.
And near the end, despite all the fame, wealth, achievements.
He admitted he'd bet anyone who swapped places with him would want to swap back within a week.
That says everything about the misery ego can inflict, even when you look successful on the outside.
Deep misery and isolation.
Yeah. Of course, success isn't the only outcome. Failure is pretty much guaranteed on any big journey.
And if success inflates the ego, failure. Well, that can be a crushing blow to it.
Katharine Graham's story at the Washington Post is incredible here.
Just devastating circumstances. Inheriting the paper after her husband's suicide.
Then facing hostile takeovers, a vicious strike with sabotage, a fire.
Competitors refusing to help, investors selling off stock, just crisis after crisis.
What did she need then? It wasn't ego, it wasn't swagger.
No, the sources show she needed strength, quiet confidence, endurance, a deep sense of purpose beyond herself.
It wasn't about her. It was about saving the paper, the legacy.
And she proceeded without ego getting in the way, just focused on what needed to be done.
Because ego really shows its true colors when things get tough publicly, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, the doubters, the scandals, the losses. Ego makes you blame everyone else. It's a miserable way to live.
Bill Walsh taking over the 49ers. They went 2-14 his first year. Same record as before.
Total failure on the surface. Ego wants to just despair or lash out.
But he didn't focus just on the result. He looked deeper.
He looked for evidence elsewhere, how they played the games, internal changes, small signs of progress others would miss. He saw past the ego-crushing scoreline.
Which brings us to that amazing concept from Malcolm X in prison. Alive time or dead time?
Facing a decade locked up. Most would see that as pure dead time. Wasted years.
But he chose alive time. Consciously.
He wasn't just doing time, he was using it. Reading constantly. History, sociology, religion, classics.
Prison became his college. Books was his alma mater, he said.
He completely transcended the physical walls by expanding his mind. He felt free inside because he was growing.
It's such a challenge to you, the listener. What are you putting off? What dead time in your life, a setback, a delay, could actually be used for growth you need?
Because the temptation when we fail is often to just double down on what got us into trouble.
Like John DeLorean.
Yeah.
After his car company failed because of his management style.
He ends up in that cocaine sting. An extreme example, but it shows someone unable to take responsibility, admit mistakes, trapped by the sunk cost fallacy. I've put so much in, I can't change now.
Even if it's clearly not working.
Right. So the real question in failure is this setback going to define me? Is my ego going to make me blame others or repeat bad habits?
Or is this an opportunity? Can I learn? Become the person I actually want to be.
You can reframe it. This is an opportunity for me. I am using it. This will not be dead time.
The real dead time was maybe when ego was running the show, making us react blindly. Now we can choose to live, to grow. The sources also look at how ego affects our relationships and how we view outcomes. Knowing what's important to you seems fundamental.
Absolutely. Understanding your core values, your purpose, that gives you clarity. You see what matters, and maybe more importantly, what doesn't.
Lets you say no to the stupid races that don't matter or even exist.
Those pointless competitions driven by ego or what other people think. Knowing what's important gives you that quiet, internal confidence.
And the more you gain success, money, stuff, the harder it gets to stay true to that purpose, right?
Yeah, that myth that happiness is just over there with what someone else has. That's a powerful illusion. Ego fuels it. It takes real courage to stop chasing it.
And ego doesn't just hurt you, it hurts people around you.
Oh, definitely. Loved ones. It can lead you to treat people like objects, like chess pieces. Napoleon is an example.
General Scott pitying Jefferson Davis, calling him an enraged imbecile who lays about him in blows which hurt only himself. Ego is self-destructive.
Contrast that with Eisenhower's White House. Super organized, he delegated, trusted his staff.
Focused his energy on the biggest decisions.
Compare that to DeLorean after he left GM. Disorganized, narcissistic. You need organization, trust, admitting you can't do it all, especially when you're playing in the majors. Ego fights against all that.
George C. Marshall, again, is just such an incredible example of managing ego, even with rank.
He actively discouraged people lobbying for him to get promoted, even tried to stop them creating higher ranks just for him, didn't want to outrank his mentor.
And the ultimate test, declining command of D-Day.
The job he'd trained his whole life for, the potential glory.
But he knew he was needed more in Washington. Told Roosevelt, the decision is yours. My wishes have nothing to do with the matter.
Put the mission above personal ambition. Let Eisenhower have the glory. That's profound suppression of ego.
And his magnanimity, too. Not seeking revenge on that general who treated him badly.
Because he saw the guy was still useful to the country. That quiet suppression of personal feelings. Just another job well done for Marshall. Gracious, forgiving.
It's like that saying, play for the name on the front of the jersey.
And they'll remember the name on the back? Yeah. Marshall's selflessness shaped the world, even if people don't know his name today.
It's the steak, not the sizzle. Like Belichick or Merkel's supposed contempt for sizzle mentioned in the book, substance over performance.
And then you circle back to Howard Hughes, that final regret, an incredible life on paper.
But so much misery, he thought anyone would swap back instantly. Ego inflicts real pain.
Deep personal pain.
So what about when you face indifference, disrespect, outright attacks? What's the response then?
The sources suggest something radical. Always love.
That sounds hard, especially when you're hurt or angry.
Totally counterintuitive. Look at Orson Welles and William Randolph Hearst with Citizen Kane.
Hearst went on the attack.
An all-consuming campaign. This powerful guy, near the end of his life, wasting immense energy trying to destroy a movie he probably hadn't seen, wasn't really just about him.
Driven purely by ego.
And, ironically, cemented his own negative legacy linked to the film he hated.
Makes you think about all the needless death and needless waste throughout history caused by anger, resentment, ego.
So the argument is that love, not sentimentality, but an egoless, open, positive, productive stance is actually a better response than anger.
Towards anyone.
Yeah. The difficult neighbor, the critical parent, the frustrating bureaucrat, the group that rejects you, the harsh critic.
Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
His response to being forced into that baggage car.
Incredible. Someone apologized, said he must feel degraded, and Douglass said, "They cannot degrade Frederick Douglass. The soul that is within me no man can degrade. Those who are inflicting it upon me are degraded."
Wow. He wasn't angry. He wasn't hurt by them. He saw the degradation was theirs, not his.
Contrast that with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth.
Yeah.
Still consumed by rage years later about being kicked out of Metallica.
Despite huge success on his own.
But that anger, that resentment, it fueled addiction. It kept eating at him 18 years later, still feeling it like yesterday.
Anger and resentment just keep you stuck, don't they?
Arrest your development. Tarnish your legacy if you are successful. Make you miserable.
And when you put your work out there,
Uh,
it's going to be judged.
If ego's in charge, you demand everyone loves it. You demand appreciation. Leads straight to expectation hangover.
When reality doesn't match the ego's demands.
It's so much better, more sustainable when just doing the work well is enough. When meeting your own standards gives you pride.
The effort is sufficient, not the external results.
Yeah. And that famous story about Alexander the Great and Diogenes the Cynic.
Althea offers him anything.
And Diogenes just says, "Stop blocking my sun."
Huh. Even the most powerful person is vulnerable to indifference. Someone who just doesn't care about their status.
It is a sore thing to have labored. And when all is done, find humanity indifferent. That's a quote from the sources. But you have to push through it. External validation can't be the driver.
So, wrapping this up, the main message from these sources is just unavoidable, isn't it? For everything that comes next, ego is the enemy.
It's not a one-time fix. Never. Danielle Bellelli's metaphor is great. Training is like sweeping the floor.
Dust always comes back.
Exactly. Ego needs daily sweeping. It builds up fast, becomes unmanageable if you ignore it.
Holiday shares that himself, right? Understanding the lessons intellectually at 19.
But still making mistakes years later. Needing the painful personal experience to really learn it. Sweeping once wasn't enough.
Reminds me of that Bismarck quote in the book. Any fool can learn from experience. The trick is to learn from others.
The book tries to give you the learning from others part, but the author admits there was plenty of painful first-hand learning too.
And maybe, as Plutarch suggested, sometimes you, the listener, need a bit of that first-hand experience too, to really get it deeper than just words.
The fight against ego is constant. It's essential at every single stage. Aspiration, success, failure.
It's lifelong. But the sources frame it positively too. It's the fight for what's real, for connection, for clarity, for the ability to actually do the work that matters to you.
Yeah, it's a worthy fight.
So, thinking about all this, what aspects of ego are you ready to maybe start sweeping away today?
Good question to ponder. Definitely encourage you to grab a copy, purchase the book, and explore it fully for yourself. There's always more to discover.
For sure. And hey, engage with the author's legacy, talk about these ideas, maybe share your own experiences, applying them, use social media, find forums dedicated to the book. Let's keep the conversation going.
And here's the real challenge. Take one or two of these principles this week and actively try to apply them. See what happens. Notice the difference it makes in your interactions, personal or professional.
Let the wisdom of this book genuinely enrich your life. That's the goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for joining us on the Plain Books podcast.
Yeah, thank you. If you enjoyed this deep dive, if you found it useful, please follow, subscribe, maybe share with others who you think might benefit. We'd really appreciate it.